Inspiration is what you need to get you through in life. It's Live Your Dreams with me, Esther Michael Emeh. This is a show that empowers you to believe in yourself. Dream it, see it, believe it, it's all in you. Catch it on this channel every Tuesdays at 11 a.m. and be inspired. I'd like to start off by saying life is beautiful, if you believe so, if you think so. And if you work towards what you really want to achieve, it can obviously come beautiful for you. And it doesn't matter how rough or how far or how difficult it seems to get to your dream or to your aspirations. There's always a possibility of it coming true. It all depends on you if you believe it, and of course if you work towards it. So I say people have purpose, people have reasons as to why, or reason as to why they're here as human beings. Find your purpose and pursue it. Of course, this is Live Your Dreams. I'm Esther Michael Emeh. And I have a Reverend Doctor, the name comes later, who's going to be with me on the show today and telling us all about his ordeal and, the decisions he's had to make, or he had to make, that has brought him to this point where he is at the moment. So, stay with me. It's Live Your Dreams. We'll be right back. Inspiration is what you need to get you through in life. It's Live Your Dreams with me, Esther Michael Emeh. This is a show that empowers you to believe in yourself. Dream it, see it, believe it, it's all in you. Catch it on this channel every Tuesdays at 11 a.m. and be inspired. Welcome back. It's Live Your Dreams. I'm Esther Michael Emeh. This is a show that tells you can't give up on your dreams, on your aspirations, on your goals. You just have to keep moving. And of course, I have a reverend and a doctor who's going to be telling us about himself in a while. And I just want to remind you that it comes on Star TV. Live Your Dreams comes on Star TV every Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Thursdays. You can follow it on Facebook, www.facebook/Live Your Dreams with Esther Michael Emeh. So, coming to the detail, to the point as to why we're here, who has made us to have the show today is no other person but Reverend Dr. Momodu Conteh. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Live Your Dreams.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would want to start off with how you became a reverend and a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to tell us that?
Okay. Well, I was born in Sierra Leone, and I went to school basically here. My elementary and high school I did here. And then I was an imam in a mosque, deputy imam in a mosque in Tengba Town. The mosque is still in existence. The imam there now, he and I are very good friends. I was a deputy there at that time when I was, going through my studies, and I was taught the Quran by one of the most learned Islamic scholars in this country then, late Alhaji Ghazali.
Okay.
And during those sessions, I encountered Christ, the living Christ.
You want to tell us about it?
Where we are now, not 5 minutes walk from here, I was living in a house with my family when during the month of Ramadan, I saw a vision. A vivid vision as I'm seeing you sitting in front of me. I saw Jesus Christ come in my room.
Wow.
And how did I know it was Jesus?
Yes,
I was a Muslim.
Ask you that.
I didn't have a Bible with me. My it was in my house. But the words that he said to me, I found in John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And it's there, if you open the Bible, it's there and get print. So I could not have missed him. And then he took me through sessions of what would happen to me in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years.
Wow.
So my life is mapped out. And that's what brought me to where I'm at today. And that's my encounter with him. Did I want to come to church? Did I want to be a church pastor? No, I did not. I had my own plans. But he superseded my plans.
Oh.
And today I'm preaching the gospel and I'm still in business also.
And you're a doctor, okay.
Yes.
So how old were you when you encountered Christ?
I was in my 20s. I didn't have a youth life, I would say. Straight from school
To the mosque.
to the mosque, from the mosque to the
So
church.
you've always been, I'd say, straightforward guy.
No.
Tell me about it.
I had a session of, well, you call it a dark session.
Yeah.
Of 6 years because I didn't want to preach. I didn't believe that that's what was I was cut out for.
No, before
Yeah.
the preaching or
Yeah.
before you encountered Christ, you said you were an assistant imam.
Yes.
Yeah, so apparently you've always been this religious
Yes.
young
Yes.
boy. What made you make such a choice at that age where young guys or young boys would say are really, really involved in worldly things?
Well, maybe it was my background. I was born in Tengba Town when Tengba Town was called Tengba Fakai.
Okay.
When it didn't have all the beautiful buildings you see in today, there were very few. And in my knowledge, most of the peers that we saw around about us, people that we thought were those that had made it in life, were young girls with maybe 4 or 5 kids. By the time they are 20, the boys will end up as sergeants in the police force or the military, and I abhorred that life.
Okay.
So I decided to find a way.
What was the mindset? Okay, you were finding a way out of not wanting to have kids at that.
No, not
age.
kids, not just kids,
What?
not just kids, but I didn't want to have a life of nothingness. You know, I saw life much more meaningful than just being existing. So I started seeking.
Okay.
You know, and I ended up in the mosque. And the man who taught me the Quran took me under his wings because he saw potential in me. I didn't first appear on TV as a Christian. I appeared first on TV as a Muslim during the month of Ramadan.
I'll come to that part.
Yeah.
How you managed to, deal with that switch or twist. I wanted to ask, when at the time you were still young, and you wanted something different from what you thought every other person had, what were you thinking? What did you want to become?
Yeah, incidentally, my background, my maternal side, my mother is of the Fula background. And I had my family people that brought me up then. I grew up more on my maternal side than on my paternal side. They are business people. And so I saw the possibilities of being a business person. And that I still have that knack in me today. That's what got me basically to where I'm at.
So you wanted to be a businessman?
Yes, at my own level. An international businessman. That's what I had in my mind when I was growing up as a kid.
So coming back to a businessman that you are now, you're a doctor in what?
Business administration.
Beautiful.
With specialty in mergers and acquisition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about your childhood when you were growing up. What challenges did you face?
Well, I grew up in what you would call an underprivileged setting, Tembe Fakai. When I mention Tembe Fakai, people that are watching this program, the elderly about my age group, remember, they would laugh. Tembe Fakai was really Fakai. It was called Fakai because it was Fakai. And I grew up here, you know, in the midst of all that turbulence.
What does Fakai mean? Sorry.
Like some non-significant. Yeah, exactly. You know, when people are counting of places like, you know, when you're talking of, in those days, you're talking of Spur Road, you're talking of Hill Station, you're not talking of Tembe Fakai. You know, and that's where I was born. And I grew up in the midst of stabbings, you know, I mean, wildlife, gambling, and I dabbled in that a little bit, I must confess, you know.
Please, you know.
So, having grown in that kind of setting, I saw the other side of life, the hard side of life. My family was not poor. My father was a chief. He was the first Limba tribal head in Freetown, and his domain stretched from Wellington all the way down to Waterloo and to York. So he had some kind of influence under the then APC government. Okay. And I saw the other side of, you know, growing up. I saw the other side of affluence. But I wanted much more.
It wasn't all that as at that time, yeah?
Yeah.
What was this year? You know?
This was in the 60s.
Okay.
The 60s, early 70s. You know, and by 76, I was ready to go to secondary school. And I was privileged to go to the government secondary technical school. And I went there, did throughout my Form 1 to Form 5. I did technical subjects there. From there, I went to the Technical Institute where I continued and did my diploma in motor vehicle engineering.
Wow.
And it was about that time that I had this good shock.
Sorry, come again.
It was about that time I had this good shock, I would call it. Transition from everything I'd been doing to the church life.
New thing.
Yeah, and I fought it.
Yes, tell us about the battle you had to fight.
Well, I was a youth growing up, and I told you about my maternal side of my family. They gave me an opportunity of wanting me to be somebody, so they shut me in the house, and I was locked up. I went to school. What I mean was, I went to school, came back from school. I had to be in the house. You know, if I went to the cinema, it had to be an ordeal. I had to skim my way out of the house to go to the cinema. So I grew up in that kind of setting.
Rigid and
strict. Yes, exactly.
Proper
exactly. Taken care of, but very controlled.
Yeah.
And I abhorred it. So the first opportunity I had of jumping out in the street, I did everything. I did everything you could think of. And the only thing I didn't take drugs, but I did everything. You know, no, I didn't smoke. And one of the reasons why I didn't smoke was, it's very interesting.
Tell me.
I stole my father's cigarette when I was a kid, maybe 9, 10 years old. Went behind the house, thought it was the fad of the day. So I had this puff and I started coughing and sneezing. And I suffered so much since that day till today. You light a cigarette near me, I'm
You're
turned
running
off.
away.
Yeah, so that saved me from the hard drugs.
Tell us about your transition from an imam to a reverend.
I was in the mosque doing everything that I was supposed to do as a youth, and also studying under the tutelage of my imam then. And then within that time, I had this vision of Christ appearing to me, and it was a point of controversy for me,
Sure.
because I had been seeking. There were so many questions I was asking. You know, interestingly, I went to a Christian school, the Congo Municipal School,
Okay.
and because of my well, maybe I'll call it eloquence, I was normally chosen to do Bible readings during our Thanksgiving services. And
A Muslim boy.
yes, and I loved what I was reading, and so I started asking questions about Christ, and I started digging deeper. You know, maybe that quest was what he filled by appearing in himself, because I had such a critical mind. I had to see him for me to believe. You know, because I was far too gone for me to get to that point. Yeah. So from that point onwards, the issue now came. It's good to know about him, but to live as a preacher for the rest of my life, no.
You're not sure.
No, I wasn't sure. So
you made a decision.
Well, I could not make a decision. I was arrested.
Arrested?
Yes. The Lord himself arrested me, I'll put it that way. Because I tried, honestly, I did everything that would make me not to preach. Yeah. I'll go to church, and I'll tell you, it's a very interesting story.
Please,
the first time I went to church, I didn't go to church because I felt convicted to go to church. I followed the guy to church. And
I just knew something like that was coming behind that story.
Yes.
So these guys, that's what they do.
Yes, I followed the guy to church, and I got to this church. I had this preacher preach, and something happened to me.
Okay.
I got mesmerized.
Do you remember the girl you followed to church?
Yes, of course. We are good friends. We're still good friends till today, and I owe her my conversion, my dedication to the work today. I told her she's not in the country anymore.
Okay.
But every time I travel, I encounter her in Paris. She's happily married now, and we talk sometimes, and she keeps reminding me I was the one that took you to church. I said, I know, but look at the results of your taking me to church. You know, so it's been quite interesting.
Okay, quickly, why did you decide to go into business? Maybe that's not even what I really want to find out first.
Okay.
What we would like to know, I'm sure, is what happened during the moment you decided to twist or change or be convicted. I'm sure it was not easy.
No, it wasn't.
So tell us about it and how you dealt with that.
Okay. Well, what happened was when I made the announcement that I was now a Christian, my family didn't take lightly to it. They had invested in me. I was supposed to have been sent to France to study, in the university to study. And incidentally, partly, my transition had been programmed already for me to go. And I decided against it. So incidentally, I found myself out in the street. I lost the house. I lost the facility, the air-conditioned facilities I was used to. And I was sleeping in an unfinished building in a church where I spent 6 years of my life. And within those 6 years, I felt that life was unfair to me because I hadn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
You just made a
choice. I just made a choice. And I said, well, okay, if they don't want me in this life, then I might as well do my own thing. And I did my own thing. For a while.
What was your thing?
Clubbing.
After I encountered Christ.
Yes.
Interesting.
Doing everything that a normal human being will do. But it's interesting. I sent you a clip. I don't know if you went through that clip of the presence. Okay. Normally, when I'm ministering, the presence of God comes around very strongly. Miracles happen. People get healed. I'm in the club, and He will show up there. I became so embarrassed. I felt like Jonah. So finally, I started realizing that this is not the way. You know, and the reality struck.
You've been in a club and you see Jesus appear. I mean, you had an amazing encounter that maybe many Christians who were probably born in Christianity have never encountered and probably would never.
I know that. And when I look back today, how far it's taken me, I realized that sacrifice, the call, paid off. You know.
You're watching Live Your Dreams. Is an inspirational moment for me right now. The story is really touching. I hope you're being inspired already. There's still a lot more to know, to find out. But when we come back after this break.
You are beautiful. You are smart. You are funny. You are kind. You are unique. You are worthy of love and affection. You are never too much, and you are always enough. You are precious. You are a diamond, a rose, a pearl, the most stunning of all God's creation. You are worth more than you could ever imagine. Worth more than the numbers on the scale, or the hair product you use, or the shoes you wear. More than how many girls wish they were you, or how many guys wish they had you. More than the price tags on your clothes, or the percentage at the top of your math test, or even the number of followers you have on Twitter. Your worth surpasses all earthly things, because in the eyes of the Lord God, you are loved, and you are worth dying for. Regardless of who you think you are. Whether you model in a magazine, or you model pottery with grandma. Whether you're on the hot list or the not list. Whether you're head cheerleader or a high school dropout. Whether you're Miss Popular or you've never had anyone you could call a friend. Whether you love yourself and love your life, or you can't stand to look in the mirror and you feel as if everything in your life is falling apart. Whether you're such a winner or you feel like the world's biggest failure, regardless of who you think you are, the reality is that you deserve someone who would give up their life for you, because you are powerful and strong and capable. Read about the women in the Bible: Esther, Ruth, Martha, Mary. These women changed the world forever. And inside of you, each and every one of you is a woman with that same power and that same strength and that same world-changing capability. And your responsibility is to find that woman and to set that woman free. This is who you are. And any voices in your mind that try and tell you differently are from the enemy. And the next time you hear them, this is what you say. You say, "Nuh-uh, not me, Satan. I am a daughter of the living God, cherished, loved, and adored above all things by the Creator of all things, for the glory of Him who is greater than all things. I am awesome."
Welcome back. Just in case you just joined us, it's Live Your Dreams and you're watching Channel 21. I'm Esther Michael Emeh. I still have Reverend Dr. Momodu Conteh with me, and he's been telling us a lot about himself. And I just want to say, or point out, that choices you make can be really tough, but the end result is what's most important. So you might find yourself in a critical condition, or in a critical moment, or in a situation where you have to make a choice that will probably be hurtful or be painful, but the end result will always be glorious and successful. So stay with us in the program is Reverend Dr. Conteh. Well, before we went on the break, you were telling us the sacrifice you had to make, the choices you had to make, and yeah, we want to hear more of it.
Okay. When it got to that level where I realized that there was no turning back, I started seeking, deeper about the things of God. And incidentally, within that time of my seeking, I got in touch with a ministry in Canada, the Abundant Life Ministry, and they began my training. And I went through the training with them, some of it by correspondence, some of it by, on the ground. I mean, I was a young man interpreting for one of the most eloquent, fastest preachers I've ever met in my whole life. That was my training ground, Reverend Dr. Hande Leslie. He's now based in Uganda. He personally trained me. And then in 1989, I was ordained into the full-time ministry. But from that transition point also, we started the Full-Time Bible Training Center with late Brother Wastatro. And I was one of his very first team of workers that he had together. We launched the school. The first director of that school came from our church. And it passed through our hands. And that school made an impact in this country. For 10 years, they turned out 2,000 students every year. And it went worldwide. And through those connections also, I was able to benefit a lot. Then in the early 90s, I was launched into Europe, predominantly the UK
Through the ministry.
and Norway, yes. But all along this time, you asked me a question that I needed to respond to now.
All right.
My business aspect.
Yeah, I was gonna come back.
My
to
business
it.
aspect.
Yes. How? Yeah. Let's hear it.
I was privileged to grow up with a tray on my head. I was taught to sell. I can sell anything.
You went?
Yes.
You hawked?
Yes. I hawked.
What did you hawk?
It's very interesting. There was a shop that one of my relatives had, and we would go there every Saturday. They said that was our job for Saturday. We had to go to the shop to sell. And being very thrifty as I was, I would take my tray in the morning, load it with soap or whatever it was. But I loved soap. I chose soap, and I had my reason why I chose soap.
Why?
Because in Dove Court, where these women are, many of them come with their kids, and they had to wash the children, definitely. So I would take my soap there in the morning. I won't carry soap on my head the whole day. Believe me.
What would you carry?
First thing in the morning, I'll get there with my soap and supply. I mean, I'll leave soap with them.
You don't take money?
No, I don't take money. I leave them with the soap. I said to them, I'm coming back between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock to collect my money. If you don't have money, if you're selling potatoes,
you give me
potatoes. It's very interesting.
I like that.
It's very interesting. And I will come back. I will go spend the rest of my day playing football.
Okay.
Or maybe just walking around that.
So you just sell off all your goods.
I supply in the morning. I come back in the afternoon. I'm coming with money, but the rest assured I'm coming with cassava. You name it. So since that time, I started a very good barter system.
Wow.
And that's the foundation that developed my business. To a point where I realized that in those days the church was not as affluent as it is today. Offerings were something that were hard to come by. But I began to realize that, and I started preaching this 10-15 years ago. I started telling the church that if you guys depend on offerings, there's coming in a time when it might not work out for you. Start thinking of something that would be income generating, not just for you, the pastor, but also for your congregation. And so you find out this work you're seeing here was built out of resources from here. Resources that came from myself, a few people around about me, that discovered the teachings that I'd been teaching in the area of development and invested in the work. So that's one good part of what I did that I don't regret today. But the road has been long and arduous.
Tough. Yeah, of course, the road to success is never easy. It's not a smooth ride. You have to encounter hurdles, you have to make challenges, then you just have to jump over or go through or go round about it.
I always
you
say,
have to succeed.
if you cannot tunnel, if you cannot go over it,
go round it.
Go round. If you cannot go round about it, tunnel through it. Find a way.
I know.
Fly over, but find a way.
So, how did you come to terms with your parents after you transited?
I was sharing with somebody today a very touching incident. I lost my father 2 weeks to my O-level exams, and my fees were not paid. And I went through O-levels and came out and discovered 15 years later who paid my school fees.
Really?
Yes. One of my teachers, who is now a pastor in my ministry, was
the one who paid.
Was the one together with the principal, because they saw that I was a very bright student. I ended up being the head boy of my school anyway.
What school?
Technical school, government secondary technical school. So they paid my fees.
Is this still in existence?
Yes.
School?
Yes, at Congo Course.
All right.
They paid they paid my fees, and it's amazing. Sometime 2 years ago, I was in a congregation where my principal was, and I thanked her openly before thousands of people. For what they did for me. Yeah. And it was an investment that I'm sure they don't regret today.
Of course not.
Yeah, and I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to every teacher out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a very interesting episode at that time when it happened.
Is there anything you think you could have done that you didn't do and you still want to do?
Yes. I have traveled round about the world continent-wise.
Next time when you're going, take me along.
There are places I haven't been to, I still want to go to. I've been talking to my staff recently that once I finish this building, I want to go back on my missionary trip, because that's my primary call to the nations of Europe. Okay. And they've seen, it's interesting that Europe came to us and brought us the Bible. I know. But
now we have to
they've lost the spirit today, so we have to go back. And I'm retracing my missionary steps again, like Paul did. Yeah, and very shortly I will embark on that. That's one thing I would like to do.
Okay. And what would you say has been your anchor, that has kept you going?
My anchor is the Word of God. You know, I see a lot of things happening in the church today. It blows my mind.
I know.
Outside the word of God is a disaster.
True.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk about anointing, I've seen blind eyes open, I've seen short legs go when I minister. But my confidence is not in that. My confidence is in the word of God. Because the promises of Christ, they are sure. They don't change. It's impossible for God to lie. And that's the anchor for my soul. That's what I've been holding on to in the dark days. And I'll tell you about dark days. Yes. But I thank God that my confidence was in the word. Until today, my confidence is in the word.
Let's come to your family. Are you married?
I got married and I got divorced.
Okay.
And that's an issue that I want to bring out today so that people will understand that I don't believe in divorce.
Okay.
That's the first thing. I don't advocate divorce, number two. But there are issues that have to do with life and death. There are issues that have to do with one's destiny, that decisions have to be made. You know, I was in this country at a very young age. Before I was 30 years old, my enterprising aspect of my life had succeeded to a level where we owned a hotel here, Lagon Blue Hotel then. People that remember that name will tell you. And I was 60% owner of that outfit. Life was good. You know, and at the same time I was doing the ministry. Then the war came to Sierra Leone. We lost everything. They went to that building, vandalized the building, they stole the tiles, stole the toilet seats. We had a machine in that compound that was worth $150,000. It was a mining machine. The prototype, the first prototype in this country. They vandalized it, chopped it up in bits and took off with it.
The parts? Or just ran away?
They just took
They
everything.
didn't even sell it.
That was a dark period. And my young family then, my wife then was not a Sierra Leonean, she was from Liberia.
Okay.
And Liberians and America, we went to America together. And the compatibility of the American and the Liberian and America showed up immediately. But today I can say this to you, you are a woman.
Sure.
I don't blame that woman for making the decision that she made. I was coming back to a war-torn Sierra Leone with nothing to look forward to. But I just knew I had a call to come back here to get to this level where I'm at now. So she chose America and I chose Sierra Leone.
Well, I like to chip in a little in there. I believe that every man should. I think I was watching Benny Hinn some days ago, and he said, "Find your call and find the woman. It's just a call." You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be ministry. Find your purpose and get somebody who understands your vision and who would ride with you. So I mean, I'm not trying to blame you, and I'm not trying to blame her either. But I'm saying there's certain things you could have. You know, let's not go into marriage counseling. I'm not married myself, so. Don't say, hey, well, how does she really know? But the truth is, I think you need to find somebody who understands you, who sees what you see. Both of you understand yourselves, and then you have one focus or one goal, and you work towards it. And so you what's the word now? You complement each other.
That is why today.
And yes.
That is why today, one of my strongest points in ministry is counseling to ministers, and I counsel ministers across the world. And if a young lady comes to me and says, "Oh, I found a man," I say, "Who is he?" The pastor. I said,
No.
"Don't." Why? I said, "You will not be able to go through the rigors of being a pastor's wife." That's another whole world by itself.
True.
And those women that have stood behind their men up to this time, many years now, I doff my hat to them. They have made a tremendous sacrifice. If you see a pastor's wife, please give her a special handshake. They are special people.
And I think my mom was. Unfortunately, she's no more. So kisses to her wherever she's. Why not? She's in heaven anyway. Yeah. Your moments are. I mean, your story is really intriguing and very touching and very powerful too. You know, and I'd like to ask. At the moment when your wife left, and you knew it was because you probably didn't have anything to come back home to. What were you thinking? What was at the back of your mind?
When those challenges come, it's you have to go back to your original call. You have to go back to what they call in French your raison d'être, your reason of being, your very reason of existence. Your purpose. If you miss that, you miss everything. So I had to reevaluate myself and begin to realize that yes, I have wonderful openings in Europe. I can tell you for free. I'm one of the very first Sierra Leoneans from this country that had an opportunity of being on Premier Radio in the UK, reaching millions of homes all over the UK. I was also on the European Satellite Network through my television programs, reaching as far as Saudi Arabia and Bahrain with testimonies, outstanding testimonies of miracles happening. I made it in Europe. I could have stayed in Europe.
To the grace of
If
God.
you see me in Europe at the level at which I'm operating, both in the church secular, in the church world and the business world, I had an office in Eaton Square. My office was like a palace. Eaton Square is 5 minutes away from where the Queen lives.
Oh.
That's where I had an office. You know, I had a residence there also. I lived there for a while with my business partners. But then I began to realize
you had to come back home to give back.
I had a reawakening one day. I was going to preach in one church, my friend's church, Apostle A.T.B. Williams, big church in the UK. And whilst I was in Eaton Square, I saw a former British politician. I would not call the name on air. I mean, the politician was brought in, held by a lady, and age had showed on this person. This person, if I mention the name, had hit the world successfully. But now I saw her at an ebbing tide, you know. And I started asking myself, what is there in this life to hunt without fulfilling purpose? And I realized that she might have fulfilled her purpose. And I was standing there in an opulent house overlooking the gardens of Eaton Square. Money was not a problem. I could fly where I wanted to. Then I started thinking of my calling in Sierra Leone. My call was in Sierra Leone. God wanted me here as a launching pad. So it was quick for me to pack my bags and come. I've never had a problem of leaving Europe and coming back to Africa. Never. You know. So
you mentioned between that you're also a philanthropist. Could you tell us what you've done for Sierra Leone?
Well, over the years, I want to go back a little bit to my relationship with late Brother Ross Tetro. He links me up with powerful people like the late Lester Sumrall. We used to bring in a shipload of foodstuff, rice, you name it, into this country. And I was the director of that program. And we helped a lot of people then. I mean, thousands of bags of rice, clothing, you name it. Then when I left on my own from Norway, I used to bring in, every quarter, I used to bring in 3 40-feet containers into this country. One of my high points in that was that during the war, we had a feeding program for lactating mothers. We brought in high nutrient food stuff in small bottles, but I mean, a small bottle, like powerful, could take care of a child for days and weeks. And that morning when we were doing the distribution in Annie Walsh compound, they called me at 6 o'clock in the morning because we had service starting at 10. They said I should come to the compound. I'm thinking, why do you want to get me out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning? Lo and behold, by the time I got to Clock Tower, there was a line there, a queue of women, some of them holding kids in their hands. It was a touching sight. By the time I got to get into the compound, was a fight for me. They were fighting me to get into the compound. They thought I wanted to, jump the queue and things like that. So I said to them, I'm the one who's helping you. And they said, well, I left inside. So I got in there, and there were over 3,000 women scattered in that compound. It was a high moment for me and Annie Walsh. I mean, they gave me an opportunity of being there, and I think I was overusing their facilities. Soon after that, anyway, we had to leave there. But they did their own part. But that was a high point for me. And I was also able, through my good connections outside, to bring in 9 dialysis machines into this country and gave them to the Ministry of Health through the government. What happened to them afterwards, I don't know. But I gave them to the government through one of my connections out there. And I've not stopped my philanthropic work. Till today, I'm still helping in whatever way I can. But I also discovered another turning point in my philanthropic work. Having given away all these tons of food stuff and things I was saying to you, there was one day I was in my house, 6 o'clock in the morning, a woman came knocking on my door. She said, hey, me picking out only for days, we don't eat nothing. Out of sympathy, I opened the door for her. I said, what's your problem? She said, we don't get food. They said, that man will give food 9 days. So I went into my house. My family was asleep. I stole the only half bag of rice we had in the house, because that's what I did. I wanted to help this woman. I gave this woman the rice. She said, hey, so that this African store we can give me, you don't settle the balance yesterday. It became a hue and cry. My wife woke up. I felt like hiding. But then I began to realize that giving away food stuff to them, giving them a fish, was not solving the problem. So we started thinking of teaching them to fish. And the next episode was a shocker for me. The body of Christ, the church here. I convinced Brother Ross, and we brought in that year a shipload of seedlings. I convinced them also. We brought in rabbits, Angora rabbits. These are fast breeding rabbits.
I like them.
I mean,
thinking of having a rabbit for a pet.
Okay, we brought them here, and we had meetings like the normal distribution meetings we used to have. We were at a church, a local church, and the church was packed full because the new distribution was going to happen again. But this time when we stood up, it was not about rice and food. It was about seedlings.
Planting.
And I started hearing, oh, now we travel, like make you one country with your house boy for can work for her. We're not interested. I'm shocked to tell you that those seedlings go in the bands where they were in the key. People took onions, turned the onions out of the bucket and sold the buckets for 5,000. And the onions were going wild in the shed 3. I never forgot that. Shed 3 in Waterkey. We had to finally clear those things from there and gave them away. But the purpose was not fulfilled.
Good.
Those that took the rabbits, it happened at the eve of the intervention, the interregnum, the 9 months interregnum. I went away and finally came back after the interregnum, called the meeting and said, what happened to the rabbits? The man who was in charge said to me, well, you know, been there, what do you think we've been eat? I said, you did not even save the pair.
To reproduce.
So that's another aspect about the Sierra Leone mentality that we need to work on gradually. For us to be producers, we are a nation of consumers. It needs to change.
Stop.
This has nothing to do with government. It's got to do with a mindset. You know. So if this program is a motivational program, I think we should start thinking in light of development and producing than just consuming.
True. Right. What is Reverend Dr. Conteh like when he wakes up in the morning?
When I wake up in the morning, I'm on the go. I sleep not the normal sleeping hours. I will not say that on air. But I'm a worker. Most of my nights, between the hours of 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, if I'm not praying, I'm working. I'm constantly online, researching, responding to my business communication mails, contacting my various partners outside, mentoring. I have a group via WhatsApp and also Facebook where I mentor 100 women of different facets of life, highest levels of strata you can think of on both sides. And I challenge them on a daily basis. We are non-political on those forums. It's purely developmental. So I spend time with them. And away from that, my hobby is driving and swimming.
Cool.
So
did you find time to drive and swim?
Yes, I do.
How? With your busy schedule?
I find time. I make my own time. And I tell you, I got to that. There was 1 year I had to be taken out of this country. I was taken to the UK and straight to my doctor. And the doctor looked at me. He said, I'll put you on aspirin. I thought the guy was crazy. I said, I'm sick. I mean, it's like my whole body was falling apart. He said, what you need is rest. I'll put you on a 3-month rest. You're not going anywhere. You eat, you sleep, you read for a while. Don't watch TV.
Aspirin.
Don't watch TV for long. I'll give you and I learned my lesson.
Good.
So when the temptation signs
with all the
I
craziness of the day, you still find time to relax. Okay. Swimming is a sport, but do you have any other sport you're kind of interested in or you like?
In my younger days, I used to like football.
Did you play?
A little bit. I dabbled in a bit, but I was not a very good footballer.
But you were just there to have fun with it.
Yes.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, it will blow your mind. My favorite food is spaghetti. I can live on it for 7 days a week.
Are you serious?
Spaghettis and the rest. You want to hear the next one?
Please.
Ebe.
Really?
Yes.
Mango ebe or
mixed?
Anyone.
Mixed.
Once is ebe.
Mixed.
Once is porridge.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite color then?
My favorite color today is red. Not because of politics, but I love red.
Wait, so today, okay, for yesterday, what was it? What was it for yesterday?
Burgundy. Very close to red.
Still close
Very close to red. Because when I grew up, the first color I saw as I was growing up as a kid was red.
So you haven't really detached yourself.
No.
Okay. Live your dreams, as you know, is the motivational program meant to inspire everybody who's watching and who seems. Everybody has a purpose, so it's meant to inspire everyone with their dreams and their aspirations and their purpose and their drive, whatever they find themselves kind of attached to or in love with. It's for them to dream and believe that they can achieve it. So, I think you're in the best position to talk to somebody right now who's watching, based on your story, based on your ordeals, based on your trials and your strength to pull through and still be where you are, making mark and and giving testimonies. I need you to talk to somebody out there, tell them something that could wake them up.
Okay.
They're sleeping, they're about to give up.
Okay.
They can just give them a punch or a pinch.
Okay. In the aspect of challenging people out there, that this is my day-to-day activity. This is what I do. I hold leadership conferences across Africa, in Europe also, and giving up is not an option
at all.
I don't know that language. That's the first thing that disappeared from my vocabulary, because I had all the odds against me for me to fail. I failed in a business transaction before, as I said to you, my life dream, young man coming up at the age of 32, about that time, in that kind of setting. I was in that hotel living a good life. I lost everything, had to start all over again. And I've had ventures, I've been into business ventures where I lost. And I don't know that word giving up. But I had a very interesting encounter once in ministry when I felt that this country was not rewarding me based on what I was putting in. So I left, packed my bags and I left. And I'm sitting in the UK in a park in Stockwell, I'll never forget that park where I was. And just suddenly I had the Spirit of God say to me, "What are you doing here?" I said, "What's going on?" I said, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
I said, "God, I'm in England." He said, "I know, but I'm asking you. It's not because I don't know where you are." I said, "What are you doing here?" Because this is not your area of call. And I said, "But nothing is happening there." I said, "Because you left."
You need something happen.
Exactly. So I said, and I'm negotiating this man and my father talking. I said, "So what if I want to go back? What happens?" He said, "If you decide, everything will work for you." And this is one of my most powerful testimonies. I was in that park with probably 10 pounds in my hand. And the moment I repented right there, knelt down on the grass in the open there, and with tears coming down, streaming down my eyes, I repented before the Lord. I got back to the house where I was living in the UK. I never forget 7 Vectis Road with my spiritual mother from Jamaica. The moment I got into there, I said, "Conteh, where have you been?" He said, "There's been a phone call, an international call for you." He said, "The man will call back in 2 hours' time." And this is one of my helpers of destiny that calls me occasionally, led by the Spirit of God. He called me. He said, "I need to talk to you. I'm coming to the UK tomorrow for you. I'm going to America, but I need to pass through London. Come to the airport. I need to talk to you." This man, I met him at the airport when he was just coming out to the transit lounge. He could not stop. He just gave me an envelope. He said, "I'll talk to you when I get to the US. I don't want to miss my flight." He left. I ran to the toilet and I tore that envelope open. That's when I began to realize that my God is a good God.
I know.
And since that day, I've realized the level where I'm at now, nothing will turn me back.
At all.
I just know the greatness of my God. In everything that I do, I just commit myself to Him. I've made my mistakes,
True.
But I thank God for where I'm at today.
Okay.
And I'm not done yet. I want Sarah to know I'm not done yet. I'm not even halfway through yet.
Yeah, I almost skipped that part. What else do you intend to do? What else do you think it's there? What's the gap you think you can fill?
Once I finish this building, I am going straight into mass evangelism. I'm going into leadership training. I am concerned, I'm not a politician. I don't want to go into direct politics, but I'm concerned about who's ever going to rule me in this country. But I don't want to wake up one morning, some half-crazed fellow in that building takes a decision about me indirectly that will affect me and the rest of my family. So I want to be able to influence the political scene in this country. I want to have access to any minister I need to have access to any day without coercing him, but realizing that I'm a voice.
Yeah.
Presently in my present capacity as the assistant chaplain to the First Family, I have access to many doors here, and I can put my views across very strongly without making them feel intimidated or without going their cap in hand. I don't do that. Exactly. I give my counsel where it's needed. If it's not needed, I know how to say goodbye.
I know. So yes, let's wrap up. Could you tell us your last words?
Well, my last word out there, you that's been listening to me, life is good. It's exciting to be alive.
I know.
And I know that this last phase before the coming of the Lord, wherever you are, if you don't believe, I want you to believe it is coming back. And I want you to understand that the preparation of that coming depends totally upon you accepting Him, yielding your life to Him, not in perfection, Because that's one thing I want to bring out very clearly. God is not looking for perfect men. He's looking for imperfect men that are willing to turn themselves over to him so that he can make something out of them, like he did with me, and he's still doing with me. And so I want to challenge you out there to be ready, to be so hungry for change that change will pursue you. And when change pursues you, envelope that change and just ride the storm. I'm an expert in riding storms. My most exciting times is flying, and takeoff is what I like. When that plane is fighting against all odds to rise up above 37,000 feet, it's my most exciting moments, and that's my drive. That's what keeps me going. You know, so it's an exciting time to be alive.
I know, and thank you so much for sparing your soul, very busy and tight-fisted schedule to be on the program, and you've been truly inspiring. And I'm sure people out there, somebody who's watching has made up his or her mind to make a difference and to make the change, or to be the change that they want to see, and to make to change the world, to affect the world, and to make that one decision that would change their entire life. So once again, thank you for
and thank you so much for bringing me to your program.
So there was this pregnant deer that was pregnant. She had to give birth, and the jungle is a wild place. You have predators and you have prey, and of course in a jungle, a deer is obviously a prey to the lion. So she was pregnant and she was due to give birth, and the lion was just waiting for her, to get to one corner to get struck. And as she tried to run away from the lion, she got to a river. And how can she cross the river? Just maybe by the bank of the river, there was this hunter with an arrow. And the clouds seemed like it was going to rain, but she had to give birth. And she not knowing what to do, or just trying to forget about what was happening around her. And the focus was the life she was about to bring, her young one she was about to give birth to. And she stooped low to give birth to her baby. And something happened. Thunder struck. And then the hunter, who was pointing towards her, I think the lightning hit him and his arrow went straight to the lion, and the lightning struck him and she gave birth. The lesson is, you will always meet obstacles. You will always meet challenges. You will always meet trials. You will always be scared of failing or succeeding. But whatever it is, stay focused. Don't let anybody around you or anyone at all dissuade you or make you give up. I mean, sometimes the people you so want to depend on might even be the ones who will let you down. But what's important is you look within yourself. I'll tell you something. The greatest believer is you. You can only make someone believe in you when you believe in yourself. So build yourself, find your purpose, and do not give up. It's not going to be easy at all. It's never easy. But what makes you who you become is the decision and the choices you make. Wake up now and make that decision and decide in yourself, by yourself, through your mind, that you will live your dreams and you will succeed no matter the circumstances, no matter the trials, no matter the obstacles, no matter the stumbling blocks. Take your time, sit down, relax, think through, have a positive thought or positive perception about life, about yourself. It starts with you loving and appreciating who you are. Find your purpose, dream big, let it scare you, because that's what it's supposed to do. If your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. But trust me, once you have the belief and once you know what you're on about, and you believe and you believe and you believe and you let nobody change your thoughts up or dissuade you from your focus, you will definitely get there. So I come here again, I can only do the talk. I can only say, yes, you can live your dreams. I can try as much as possible to help you get there. I'm doing my own, this is my own bit, this is what I want to do. I'm trying in my own little way. But the point is, we as human beings, whatever we do is to make a better world, is to create a change and be a positive influence to our generation. What are you waiting for? If you're a writer, write more. If you're a singer, sing well. If you're an actress, act better. If you're a broadcaster, broadcast better. If you're a pastor, preach well. If you're an imam, still preach well. Till I come here again, do what you find yourself doing and do it well. Do it with all your heart, and definitely you will get there. It's Live Your Dreams with me, Esther Michael Emeh, on Star Television. It comes on every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'd like to send a special shout out to my team, guys. Camera guy Desmond Cole, thank you so much for your patience and your angles. And of course to Chansey, who keeps editing this show, thank you so much with all the headaches. And to my producer of course, Vivian Spill, and my buddy, thank you so much. And to every one of you who've chosen Star Television to be your premium TV, thank you for choosing us. We love you. Keep watching this station. Till I come here again, live your dreams.
Inspiration is what you need to get you through in life. It's Live Your Dreams with me, Esther Michael Emeh. This is a show that empowers you to believe in yourself. Dream it, see it, believe it, it's all in you. Catch it on this channel every Tuesdays at 11 a.m. and be inspired.